Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. This channel is all about giving you the spiritual tools and mindsets to live a more free and empowered life. In today's episode, we are again joined by Rodney Goodwin, where we're going to be looking at the next astrological forecast, really from now until about mid-February. And a big aspect of that is actually a conjunction that is taking place right now that is actually not going to be seen again for another 250 years. So this is a very significant event that is all about the end of a karmic cycle and bringing in new possibilities, new quantum fields, stepping into that, and really kind of allowing the ease of manifestation and navigation to become a lot easier. So we're getting into that and much more. Stay tuned. All right, welcome in. My name is Logan Hart. This is Rodney Goodwin. How are you today, brother?
Good, man. Doing great. Been a busy day, going through certain things, certain projects that I'm working on, and it's good, man. It feels good to be, to be busy, but to be mindful of your thoughts and mindful of what you're doing and setting the intent to what you're doing, and then seeing some results. So, man, it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be here on planet Earth, and to be a part of this podcast, a part of what's going on here as a magician, as a shaman, and just loving it, man. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Absolutely. I'm excited to get into it. Before we get into everything, everyone just please do me a favor, drop down right now and click the like button. That really helps the video and the channel out, and leave a comment down below. Share your thoughts as we go through this material. But we got a lot of great stuff to get into. Really excited about this one. So Rodney, take it away, man.
Yeah, so we have a major transit going on, a major conjunction happening right now. It's happening today. It happened a little bit earlier, but then we're transiting into this new energy. So
which today is the January 20th, by the way.
January 20th, yes, today. So today we had what's called a Pluto Sun conjunction, which is called a Kazami, which is basically when Pluto transits the sun is shining into the Plutonian energy in a conjunction. And we are having this powerful energy that's taking place right now, and it's happening at what we call an anaretic position. So an anaretic position is basically a 29-degree position that you could have on your chart. Like I personally have Venus at 29 degrees Gemini, and so that is what we call a karmic wrap up, or some people call it the degree of fate. I don't necessarily sign on to that aspect, because I believe we are the cause point of our lives. Mm-hmm. But again, it is a karmic aspect where you are being challenged to wrap up the energies of that gate, and so there are lessons still with that 29 degrees that you need to basically work through in context to karmic cycles that you may have been on with a particular orb or energy. So with Venus, with me, it's relationships and really dealing with my own self-worth and self-love, having 4 placings in Taurus. So kind of fits in to the cycle itself. And so when we're looking at collective energy, which is where we're at now, with the Plutonian energy conjunct Sun at 29 degrees Capricorn. What is Capricorn? Capricorn is structures and foundations. So what are we dealing with? We're dealing with Saturnian energy. 10th gate energy has everything to do with what? Limitations, delays, lessons, karmic cycles, and because Saturn is the lord of karma. So when we think of Capricorn, what are we thinking? We think of the mountain, the goat. So what does the goat do? The goat is the individual. It's climbing the mountain, and taking the steps to the plateaus, and then climbing again, and its journey onto the top of the mountain. So you can literally see what's going on. A lot of people equate the Capricorn energy to the hermit, where you see the hermit on top of the mountain with the light. and I have a painting of it with the stars coming out of the moon, and he has the lantern in front of him that's lighting the way with the wand of power in his right hand. And so a lot of people equate that energy to the hermit energy. And so it really is about structures and foundations, and then being able to build something line upon line, precept upon precept, and put the work in to your path work so you actually have structure within what you're doing. So this is the Capricorn energy. It's learning how to draw boundaries as well, protecting your auric field, this type of stuff. And so when we're seeing it 29 degrees with the sun shining in, right, which is, if you think of the sun, think of it as your ignition, right? When you're driving a car, what's happening? And the sun's shining at a setting, and you're driving through. You got to put down the visor, right, because you get blinded by the light. See, that's what I call, it's a lesson of the cold light. What's shining outside of you that you're trying to navigate, but you can't because you're being pulled into the things on the outside instead of going internal. But when you have this being ignited, your sun is being ignited within your heart core, then that's shining outward and lighting your path so you can navigate. That's the difference between the two. So when we're looking at a Kazami with Pluto and Sun at 29 degrees, it is a wrap up of the gate since 2008, and the karmic cycles and loops that we've been on, that we've been breaking, that we've been creating the awareness through, and so we can make the correct choices to get out of the looping karmic cycles that we've been on, which has kept us locked down in our own consciousness from actually climbing that mountain and becoming the hermit ourselves, and taking that path, what we call it the path of the tarot. A lot of people call that, or the hermetical path, from the 0 fool to the 9, which is the hermit. So when we're taking those steps all the way up on the mountain, we're breaking karmic aspects of our consciousness that's been locked down, not only on an etheric level but also on the bloodline level, which that then we're dealing with karmic bloodline that we have incarnated into, so we can transmute that energy and build the correct foundations. So when you go to the 11th gate of Aquarius, you're picking up your freedom, your sovereignty, and your free will. So that's
Powerful stuff.
That's what's happening right now.
Right. Because obviously there's no getting around karma. It's like you spend it, and everything in nature moves in cycles. So you spend a time, you're planting, you're doing that work, toiling the fields, and then it comes time to harvest. And it's all about, what did you plant? Harvest can be a bountiful, beautiful time, or a time of great strife and, lamentation, just depending on what have you been doing with yourself and your energy.
Right. And the whole key to it is that, have you put the work in to cultivate the crop?
Mm-hmm.
So you get the fruit. And that's what this is about. It's really going to be signaling. I mean, a lot of us may be, over the next, week or so, may start have some life reviews. We may be looking back at, I know that I had, I looked back at some stuff and I'm like, oh shit, man, I took a timeline I shouldn't have taken in 2006. And I'm looking back, I'm saying, oh shit, I made the wrong choice there. That's karmic awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing where that timeline led you in context. And so this, if you want to really take it to the norns and weaving the web of weird, with things that you're getting into there with your, I don't want to bring it up, but with the runes themselves, this is how you reweave things. You have to create the awareness to do that. And a lot that happened back then when you were ignorant of, cosmic principle and the alchemical process and going through, natural law, you didn't understand it. You made choices that were ignorant. This is what karma is, because you're putting something into action through your thought and emotion that is out of alignment with the universal structure itself. So that awareness thing comes up, and you look at it and you go, oh man, I shouldn't, and so it just gives you a review.
Right.
And that's kind of this energy right now.
And I want to say something about karma right now too, because I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about it in just kind of the pop culture version of it or whatever.
Right.
But I think it's really important to remember that every choice that you make is an extension of the level of awareness that you're at in that
Yes.
moment in time. So, of course, when you look back, hopefully you're going to see a lot of things that you wouldn't have done because you've grown since then. And now looking back, it's like, well, you're at a higher awareness now, um, but you wouldn't take it back because it's exactly those lessons that came
Right.
about from those
Right.
choices that got you to the higher level of awareness now. So it's almost like, if you look at it from that perspective, there are no wrong choices, because whatever you did in that moment was probably the best that you knew at the time, at least from an awareness point, or just your vices and addictions maybe have pulled you stronger, even though you knew what you should have done, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it's all serving your journey. It's all contributing to that. Because if you made a bad choice, it's simply because you haven't learned those lessons yet, and you needed to bring about that challenge that's going to come along with a less than ideal choice. So it's just important to remember that, like, don't beat yourself up too hard about mistakes that you've made in the past.
No.
Yeah, some things can really continue to kind of follow you for a long time, depending on the degree of the choices made. And sometimes it might feel like, it's a burden, but for the most part, it's all just part of the process, and you basically just chose to take the scenic route instead of the direct path to where you're trying to get to.
Well,
But
it's just
ultimately,
yeah,
everything
yeah.
is still leading you to the same place.
Yeah, it's like going around the mountain again because, you didn't get it, you didn't get the exit sign. So you didn't see it. So oh shit, I've got to go back around again to catch it again.
Yep.
And that those are the lessons of Saturn, when we're looking at Capricorn and the 10th gate, and becoming like uh what's the word I want to use? Your own, kind of your own critic, your own your own best friend, but then also your best critic as well, to be able to see, where now you're not on those loops anymore. That ignorance, that conscious and subconscious and unconscious, is still sitting there, but it's being illuminated now because you can see the choices and you can see, where that threw you. And so you're weaving a different weird now. Because of that, your awareness has increased, so your weird has changed in context to that. So when a lot of people start to have this type of epiphany and they start to create their awareness, then they can make the correct choices, to coming out of the karmic cycle. And that's what this is signaling in context to this Pluto conjunction with Sun at 29 degrees. It is the anaretic position of the karmic aspect that we're dealing with right now on a collective level.
Mm.
And so we have, we also have trailing those planets, that conjunction. We have Mercury, we have Sun sitting there, but we've got Mercury, we've got Mars sitting there, and we've got Venus moving into the gate on the 23rd. So Venus will be coming into Capricorn as well. So we will have those particular planets, which are the inner planets, trailing this, and then they will be then conjuncting the Plutonian energy, conjuncting that 0 degree point where what it's signaling in context, and then they will be catapulted into this new energy as it's signaling this 250-year transit that we're coming into here. So it's a big, the inner planets are what's happening on the ground. Your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, all your moon, all that's happening on the ground here, man. So when you're dealing with Jupiter and Saturn, those are the consciousness constructors of the spiral, of the solar spiral. The Jupiter, the expansion, Saturn, the limitations and delays, and working out the karmic aspects. And then you've got Chiron sitting between the Saturnian energy and the Uranus energy, bridging the gap between the conscious and subconscious, unconscious mind. So Chiron then becomes a big player in this, because that's your gift, that's your wound, and that's where, you are tapping into, it's your key to tapping into your unconscious, subconscious grid works in context, and then that's tapping into what? Your Uranus, your Neptune, and your Plutonian energy. So that's kind of how that solar spiral is set up, and you got to remember, guys, it's all within you. We're seeing it on the outside, but it's actually happening on the inside. And when you catch that, you start to realize that's where the vibrational correspondence takes place, as within, as without, as above, so below. That's how this is set up, and how we're navigating through things. So when we see something signaling in the sky, it's signaling inside of us as well, which is the point you always have to remember when you're working with astrology, or any of the arts of gnosis for that matter.
Right. Yeah. So what's the next aspect that we're getting into?
Okay, so the next aspect is I have a chart here. So this is today's chart. This is the energies of today. You've got everything sitting, basically on this side of the wheel. And what's happening here? Okay, so you see these two. This is Sun, and this is Pluto, and right now we are at 0 degrees right here. Look at that. So Sun is at Aquarius at 0 degrees right here, and go down the list. Pluto is at 0 degrees 5 seconds. Sun is at 0 degrees 30 or 13. So look at this. I mean, it's crazy. So we got a 31 degrees. Pluto's at 0 degrees right now, and they are conjunct in Aquarius. So this is another signal. This is dealing with what? We're dealing with where exactly things are getting ready to go. So not only are we wrapping up the Capricorn gate, breaking the karmic cycles and loops, creating more awareness, going from, methodically doing things and plotting things out and creating foundations and structures, to now we're going to the mechanics of the air magician. With what? How we're going to put all of that energy, all of those things that we've manifested, everything that we've got, that we've done since 2008, all the path work, all the blood, sweat, and tears. Now, how are we going to put all that together into a working form to create leaps and bounds of growth into the Aquarian energy through not only our own sovereignty, free will, but also collaboration? Because the Aquarian is the collaborator. This is where we work and we network with each other to begin to come up with brand new ideas, brand new ways of doing things, thinking outside of the box, not staying to the status quo, but breaking the molds that have been formed and programmed upon us for aeons now, breaking those molds, breaking those boxes, coming out and stripping away all of the status quo shit that we've been taught, and bringing things into a brand new way of thinking, your aspecting your higher self, and then stepping into a brand new place in your quantum field, like almost being a quantum field generator. This is kind of what this is talking about. Pluto is the transformer of energy. So when you're looking at energy coming into your home, it has to be transformed into something that could be used. That's what Pluto does. It helps you transform energy into something that you can actually use here on the ground from your unconscious mind, bringing the things of the underworld and illuminating them, bringing them up, so you can transmute and transform the energy into what? Into something that you can use to help the process of your consciousness grow into higher forms of revelation, unveiling, understanding, and then ultimately, bringing your authentic self. And when you start to really work with your true authentic self, you're no longer lying to yourself, you're no longer lying to others, but you're being as authentic as you probably can. Authenticity creates prosperity.
And also keep in mind, again, everything when we talk about this astrology is going to have that correspondence aspect. So it's not like Pluto's doing this for you. It's about it is mirroring what you're doing for yourself, because you have to go within yourself and call on that raw cosmic power and transform it into something useful. That's very key.
Yeah, you got to do the work. You can't No, nothing's going to do the work for you, but what it's doing is it's opening up the path so that you can step into it. So it's like opening a door. Well, if you don't walk through the door, you're never going to see what's on the other side of it. You know, if you're so comfortable with staying in your own where you're at and not actually staying, not actually growing or wanting to explore your own consciousness, and you're just happy with, whatever, then you're not going to walk through that door that's being presented to you. Again, that's another cycle that you're just deciding to go around a mountain again, you know? And so if you do that, then what's going to happen is that you're going to miss the power of what's actually happening. Look, this transit is bringing us into a brand new generational age. A new generation is being born. This is what people don't understand about Pluto. It is now we are coming into the Pluto and Aquarius generation. So everyone that is going to be born now, pretty much from now for the next 20 years, is going to be born under Pluto and Aquarius. See, I'm Pluto and Virgo. I think Logan, you're Pluto in Scorpio, right?
I'm not sure about that actually.
Yeah, I think you were born. How old are you?
37.
Yeah, so you're probably Pluto in Scorpio, right at the beginning. So, so think about this. This is how Pluto works. You have a gate that Pluto's in, which is a generational gate. It's usually a 20-year transit. Not all the transits are 20 years. The Capricorn transit was 16, but most of the gates are around 20. So that is what we call a generational gate. So people who are born into that generational gate are having the Pluto and Aquarian energy, or the Pluto and Scorpio or Sagittarius or whatever gate that's in. Where your individual aspect is to the collective with your Plutonian energy is the house that's back behind that gate. Okay, so I have Pluto in 12th house, which is the gate of the shaman. It's the gate of Neptune, your unconscious, subconscious mind, bringing that into the collective mind, and then using that and using your psychic abilities, using the abilities that you have, not only to help yourself and create a new version of yourself, but then that is your gift to the collective mind in context to transformation. So that's how Pluto works. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what's happening now. We're signaling a brand new generation, a brand new 20-year transit through the Aquarian energy. Now, Uranus is what is anchoring this gate. Where is Uranus? Uranus is sitting at 19 degrees up here at the top of the gate in Taurus. And it's still retrograde until the 27th.
Show that again.
What's that?
I said show that again because I had the screen off.
Okay, yeah. So we've got the Uranus gate right here, and we've got Sun at 0 degrees Aquarius. We've got Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius right now. And so what runs this gate is Uranus, right? Okay. Now Saturn also runs the Aquarian gate, and we've had Saturn through Aquarius already. So what's happening here is you have Uranus sitting at 19 degrees of Taurus right here. Okay, so this energy here is congruent or being congruent with the energy of Uranus in Taurus right now. Okay, so Pluto's moving into this gate, right? Signaling the Uranus and Taurus aspect, which is anchoring the gate of the Aquarian energy at 19 degrees retrograde. We come out of retrograde with Uranus on the 27th of January. Okay, so it's going to go direct in the Taurus gate, right? So what does that mean? Okay, so Taurus is like your value system. It's your all your money, the money aspect of your life, and your finances and material wealth and material resources, right? Right. So when this is going to go direct, what's it saying? There's a transformation process happening in the Aquarian gate. The sun, which is your kingdom, is shining in to the underworld of Pluto, saying, where can we reconstruct things and bring things into the light where we can use that energy now to create a prosperity with our Taurinian energy and context where Uranus is setting, that will propel us into the next phase of our lives, of this path work, of humanitarian projects, of things that are going financial right now, that are happening, that are getting ready to make a big, huge shift. Think of it like this. What is, we're in this war, we're in this battle with this Uranian gate now in the next 20 years. And we're looking at what? We're looking at two things that are happening. Mastering the organic tech, which is our physical aspect, and then you've got the artificial intelligence that's coming online now as well. So there's two things happening in that gate in context to technology. Uranus runs the technology. Aquarian runs the technology. And so everything now is going to be, the next 20 years is going to be, really directed towards either leveling up our own physical aspect and physical makeup, bringing our gifts online as a human race, as a magician, and cultivating those gifts into a higher level, your higher self, in context to the Uranus energy, and bringing that into a space where you now are starting to actually activate your giftings. On the flip side, what's happening? We have a whole integration process with artificial intelligence that is now making its entrance into the collective mind of the human race. Do you see that? You see what's happening there the next 20 years? That's what's going on. And so that's why this particular transit is so profound. I mean, think about it. How is this possible that the sun and Pluto enter the Aquarian gate at the same time? I mean, that just it blows my mind how accurate, these transits are. Anyway, I just wanted to share that screen real quick.
That's awesome.
So that's what's happening. We're really dealing with these two things that are happening. I mean, think about it. If you're just a Joe Blow, average dude, don't know not much about anything, and then all of a sudden the powers that be say, hey man, there's this chip we can integrate into your brain where now you can literally like access the information by thought, and then we can input those thoughts into your mind. And when you ask a question about something, you don't got to Google anymore, you don't got to go here, you don't got to go here, you don't got to click this, you don't got to click that, you just think it and it's integrated and you have the answer in front of you. You understand what I'm saying? Think about what the Matrix was all about. They plugged in the machine into the back of the head, right? So that, I don't know how to fly this airplane. Okay, here's the schematic. Here's how you do it. And they input the information into the schematic, into the brain, through the chip, and then boom, all of a sudden you know how to drive that airplane without really having to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's coming, man. And this is what's driving it. So if you're just a Joe Blow regular dude and all of a sudden they're offering you this type of protocol to take a part of,
mm-hmm.
think about the resistance that it would take to not do that, to step into your own quantum field and clearing the overlays of how many incarnations have you had on this planet, and how deep does your DNA go in memory and context. Now we're talking what? Hunan and Mugen. Thought and memory. See?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is what's inside of us in our junk DNA, quote unquote, junk DNA that's been overlaid and overlaid and overlaid and overlaid with all the bullshit at epigenetics that they've been throwing at us for aeons now. And now we have an opportunity with what's signaling at 0 degrees Aquarius to clear that at quantum levels now, where things are going to be burned at a high rate. We're talking acceleration here. We're talking catapult, quantum leaping, literally changing the whole course of who we are in leaps and bounds now. Not just the Capricorn gate just being, methodically, okay, you got an inch, okay, here's your next inch, okay, here's your next, we're doing like, okay, now we're doing feet and yards. We were in the mud with our boots. Now we're taking our boots off and we're putting our tennis shoes on so we can run instead of plod.
Right.
That's the difference here of what's getting ready to happen.
Yep. So again, it always comes back to like where are you spending your energy? And then, there's always that, like, there's the work that you do every single day. And I mean, some days it's going to be hard, some days it's going to be easier, some days it's storming, some days it's sunny, but it's still on you, like, to do the work.
Of course, yeah.
You've got to just power through that anyway. But it's always nice when you've been doing the work in the rain, in the mud, for so long, and you've built those muscles up, and then all of a
Yes.
sudden everything just lightens up. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's when your power can really come online, because you've built that up, that fortitude, and then it's just like effortless.
Yeah, think about the type of training that it's, the Capricorn would be the, really doing the work and putting in the time and the work and the effort, whereas Aquarius is reaping the reward of that time, work, and effort, because now you've taken the ankle weights off of your legs, and you've had them on now for the last 16 years, and now you're taking the ankle weights off, and now it's like when you run, it's like you feel like the wind.
Yeah.
Because what are we dealing with? We're dealing with an air element when we're dealing with Aquarius. See? And so now things become faster, manifestation becomes faster, things become lighter. You start to feel more freedom inside than you've ever felt before, more sovereignty, more free will, your choices, your thoughts, everything that you starts to manifest on a much, a higher level. And you are in your whole quantum field in context begins to change because of it. And so now you're accessing more on a quantum level than you ever have before.
Right.
That's what this transit is signaling.
So come on, lighten up, right?
Lighten the hell
Lighten
up,
up.
man. Things ain't that bad. I mean, if you're not looking at the bullshit that's going on in the world, keeping your eyes on that shit, the poly tricks and all the bullshit, right? Get off of that train, man, if you're on it, because that train is the train of chaos and death, man.
And energy vampires.
It's pulling your mind. It's, oh my god, you got to get off of that, because that's what they're triangulating in on you in context to the chaos itself.
And especially now, man, it's an election year.
Oh, it's gonna ramp, baby.
It's gonna get so wild, man. Clown world is gonna be on full display for sure.
Dude, there's gonna be shit. People are gonna be what the hell just happened? Things are gonna come out of super fast this year, because the next thing that's happening in the Chinese astrology is we're stepping into the year of the dragon. On February 10th, it's the wood dragon. So we literally are coming into a space where the dragon energy is now coming full force. This is a 60-year transit. So the last time we had the wood dragon was 1964. Wow. So we're looking at a 60-year transit here that's coming back around. I mean, these are big, huge transits, man.
Yes.
These aren't just little things. These are big energies, dude. That are happening.
Big shifts, big transitions.
Oh my god, man, it's huge stuff.
The liminal space.
Yeah, I mean, the dragon energy is coming full force, full front this year.
So I'd love for you to unpack that a little bit further, if you would. Like the year of the dragon, what does that mean?
Okay, so the zodiac sign is the Chinese zodiac is on the Jupiter cycles. So basically, how that works is it's a 12-year cycle. Jupiter's pretty much a 12-year cycle through the gates. So we're looking at the Jupiter cycle is what we're really looking at when we're looking at Chinese astrology. In context to correspondence. So what is Jupiter? Jupiter is what? It's your benevolence. It has everything to do with your luck, your teacher, it's your guru, it's expansion of consciousness. It has everything to do with your luck, and how you are, working with your magnetism as well. You could look at it as Thor's hammer in context if you really wanted to look at it like that. Throwing the hammer, hitting your target, bringing it comes back to you. That type of thing. You're working with magnetics when you're working with Jupiter. And so the electricity aspect and the magnetic aspect becomes very powerful with Jupiter in context to your nervous system. So Jupiter and Mercury have an interesting friendship or collaboration between each other, because Mercury is running the nervous system, but Jupiter's empowering it. It's the one that's lighting it up in context to your magnetism and electricity. So when you start to look at the cycle of the zodiac of the Chinese, it's running on the Jupiter cycles. So when we're looking at the dragon, what is a dragon, Logan? What does a dragon do?
He flies. So, I
Yeah,
mean, he
man.
does a lot of things.
The dragon is what does it do? It's what hoards the gold
Oh, yeah.
of consciousness. See?
Right.
So
Yeah,
look at
that has a
that's
twofold. It could be the representative of the ego, as far as,
exactly.
like, materialism and scarcity mindset and all that. But that's just the negative aspect, and
It
nothing
is.
nothing is in nature is ever just negative or positive. It's neutral. It's all about the light and dark side of consciousness. So when you master that dragon and you learn to fucking
Right.
ride that beast,
Right.
then you've taken its power into yours, and you're getting that alchemical gold, the gold of the
That's
light
what
of
it
the
is.
sun, of
Yep.
the mind of consciousness.
Yeah. In the Norse mythology, Nidhogg, which is the white dragon, is gnawing at the roots of Yggdrasil. See, at the roots of the tree. Okay. All right. So when you look at it, what's at the top of the tree is the eagle. It's as above, so below in context, right? So we're looking at the eagle, we're looking at the dragon as above, so below, or you could say the phoenix in context. You could be, that is the alchemical process of as above, so below, the roots, and the tree itself as a whole metaphorical tree. See? So when we're looking at the dragon, take it back to the desolation of Smog. When they went in, what happened? The dwarfs were trying to reclaim their home, and they went into the castle. Smog was underneath the gold. See, the gold of
Also,
consciousness. It is your
it's
ego
it's
that keeps you, your ego, your shadow dragon, or your ego that keeps you from accessing. It's your narcissistic aspect that keeps you from accessing the gold of consciousness.
it's
See?
also the triune brain as a hierarchical structure. So the base brain, the brain stem, that is the dragon, the reptile brain.
It is, right.
It's at the base.
Yes.
And then the subterranean, where the dwarf home basically is the emotional brain, right? And then the eagle represents the sun, as well as the neocortex, and that's why you have the two wings,
Yeah,
because the
coming off the top
left and right
of
hemisphere.
hemispheres. Yes.
Right.
Right. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring as above, as below, so above. You're trying to bring them in congruency. So there's this, and that's where what we call the Kundalini, begins to work to tap in to that, to that cortex and to that pineal gland to open things up. So you're actually being able to see with the eye of Horus again, with your moon energy, which is what's actually you're navigating in context. So that's how, when you look at the mythos, you see how that works and corresponds to the actual physical body, like you're talking about. But then when we look at what the gold of consciousness actually is, right? It's the ignition of your heart, of your star, of your actual eye that's actually seeing what the hell's going on. See? And so when that happens, you are taking back. You have to face the shadow dragon. You have to face the Balrog or whatever it's called. Where he had to face the fucking thing at, what's it called, the Balrog or Bogrog? Yeah, he had to face that, right? So Gandalf had to face that as Gandalf the Grey. See, and so he had to step into facing that fear.
And it was he died in battle. He died in battle with that beast, and only through that death unto himself was he reborn again as Gandalf the White.
The White, exactly.
Yes.
Right, which is the whitening process of the alchemical process when you're going through it. Now you're looking at the negrito. Now you're looking at the whitening that's taking place. This is what I was talking about a few weeks ago or a month ago when I said that there's a shift coming from the blackening stage to the whitening stage that we're stepping into, and that's what this is signaling in context to this transit. Getting into, I mean, we could just keep going. I mean, there's so many examples of what's happening right now that we've seen,
Yeah.
So,
Good stuff,
so
man.
that's the dragon energy. You can't be afraid to face that dragon, because until you tame it and bring your intuition, you know, into the forefront, and your ego, or that ego construct, and you find balance with your intuition and empathy and your ego, and bring the logic and reason in with the
Mm-hmm.
intuition, and balance that in the fulcrum, you're going to be out of balance. And that's where we get the tyrannical bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
the narcissistic king, and all the fucking duress of violence. If you don't do it my way, I'm just going to cut your head off bullshit. See?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I command it, it's going to happen, And so this is where we have to become aware of the indifference that's happening here. Find the balance of the seventh gate, find the Libra balance, the balance of Anubis, the balance of your heart and a feather. Bring that into the fulcrum of the magician, circle of magician. Align the energies into balance and harmony. Then you have access to the quantum field that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get access to the I am. Then you can go into the polarities, and it's your playground, because now you are the master of your thought and emotion as the hermit itself. See?
Mm-hmm.
And now you can work with the polarities because you're mastering the frequencies, law of polarity and balance. You're mastering the frequencies between both of like and dislike.
And
You're mastering everything in between.
You're not going to get caught up in one side and get caught in that dialectic. You're able to gracefully flow between them as needed,
and where you need to work in the quantum realm to bring the manifestation of your intent as a magician into the reality field.
Boom.
Yeah. Powerful
Good
shit,
stuff,
man.
Rodney.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So that's the year of the dragon, man. So it's going to force us to make a choice to mount our egos now, to bring things into a place where the shadow ego, the shadow dragon, isn't running our mind and our system anymore, but we are literally like, what was that show where the woman rode the dragon, Game of Thrones, where, she actually is mounting the dragon, and so that's what we have to do, is we have to then mount our own personal ego, our own personal dragon, and then find the balance with our left and right hemispheres of our brain, bringing them into the center again, where everything's coming up, and then you have the energy moving like a Taurus field, man, and it's and you've sealed off your auric field from all the bullshit, man. You're not getting linked, you're not getting hooked into it anymore,
right? Self-mastery.
Yeah, man, and that's the path where
if you don't have that on point, whatever you're working towards, if anything, I mean, maybe you're just stuck in the thralls of the hamster wheel. But if you're actually trying to break out of that and use your magic and manifest things in your life, but you haven't gone inside and really balanced things and kept everything in check, as far as your shadow aspects and everything, and integrated that, your magic's going to be corrupted and everything that you try to do. And then you'll feel stuck in this, victim mindset of like, oh, nothing ever works. What's the point? Everything I ever tried just fails. Well, it's because you're self-sabotaging.
Always. Or life just isn't fucking fair, man. I just always get dealt the fucking bad hand. Yeah, you're just speaking it, man. Your cells are hearing that shit.
Right.
So, you've got to begin to gulder and speak in congruency with your intent. What is it that you want to build? And so when you start bringing that congruency in between what you're thinking, what you're speaking, and your emotional intelligence comes online with that, and you're connected to the quantum aspect or the higher force itself, then that's when you are really wielding out something powerful. And you got to know when to do that and when to pull back, and that's how the transits work. Because when things are in retrograde, you're going internal. When things come out of retrograde, by the way, Mercury's now out of its shadow period, so now we are full on with Mercury. So the only orb left to come out of retrograde is Uranus on the 27th. Everything now that we start to put into action is going to be a result of not only the ideas, and that's Aquarius. That's the ideas that just come to you out of nowhere. You could just be, doing something stupid on your computer or playing a game or whatever, and all of a sudden, boom, this epiphany comes, and you're like, holy shit, I just put that together. How did that come all together in my mind? Well, that's Aquarius. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of those ideas that we've been cultivating now in the gate of Capricorn, trying to put the foundations and structures together. Look, now we're going to get more information that's going to layer on top of it. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. I could put this and that together. That connects to this. This connects to that. And then you've got a collaboration going on, and then they put their input. They say, well, I could do this, this, and this, and that to bring this about, so that not only do we have this income stream, we've got this one coming too. And then we've got another one because of those two came together. We can put this together and collaborate and bring that and pull that in. So this is how the Aquarian energy works in context to, networking and collaboration with each other.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing a good bit of that myself, although I can't talk about it yet. It's really hard, but I've got a couple of really big things in the works. So, I'll be able to talk about before too long, but just a little teaser.
Right. And look, Logan, look when you're getting ready to launch this shit right at the perfect window here.
Mm-hmm.
This is the window, of launching right now, whatever ideas and intent and things that we put together. Now is the time to get on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the window we got right here, man. And so when we're going to launch things, you want success. You want to see things, manifest quickly. You want to see these things come forth. This is the time when you want to put that stuff into action, man. Your Mars energy, your passion, your fire element. You want to get that shit moving now. Yeah.
Yep.
So good stuff.
Absolutely. So for those watching, appreciate your patience. I'm trying to get videos out, but I am hard at work behind the scenes on some very big things. So there's a reason, I'm a little bit slow on my output, in addition to just running this truck, all day. It's a lot, but I mean, I'm definitely powering through, and I mean, I think I'm doing a great job, if I do say so. You know what I mean? Like, for everything that I'm juggling. And I think when you see what I'm coming out with here pretty soon, you'll see what I'm talking about, and it'll be worth the wait. So thanks for your patience. I appreciate everyone tuning in and watching. Thank you, Rodney, for always bringing the heat and just, really getting me fired up. I think everyone seems to share that sentiment. Got a lot of good feedback on the last one that we did. People just really feel it, and they love that big, inspiring, powerful energy. It gets them amped up and ready to go. So that's what it's all about, is something that you can actually use, right? We're not trying to just get up here and, sniff our own farts in a wine glass. It's about actually giving you something that you can use that actually has value in your life. So if you did get value from this video, again, please just take the 2.2 seconds and boop the like down there and share it with a friend. That kind of stuff really helps out. So keep your eyes peeled. Again, do follow the Wizard Factory on our social media platforms up here. I've got that running pretty good now. I've got multiple posts every week going on all those platforms. So I'm just kind of building up steam slowly but surely, but in a way that I can ensure that is sustainable, that I'm not going to lose momentum. So there you have it. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Awesome. Rodney, we'll do this again here in like a couple of weeks or so. And
sounds good, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
So many transits this year, so much to talk about.
Yep. Always something, right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. So again, take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. But until next time, be empowered, inspired, and encouraged.